Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live transfer news update show. In today's video, we're going to be discussing all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news and updates going around today. There is no football going on right now for Manchester United, and we do not play again for 9 days. However, saying that, there's a lot of news surrounding Manchester United, and it looks like we are going to have one very, very busy transfer window. I believe that this could be one of our busiest transfer windows in years. There's a lot of news about outgoings, there's a lot of news about ingoings, and all of that. But first of all, everybody, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already. Of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. Just comment in the live chat, get your questions in and all that. I will be reading a few live chats. We'll try and make the show as interactive as possible as well. We know the Arsenal game is just finishing off as we speak. I thought I'd go live just before it finished off because, to be fair, I wasn't really watching it because Arsenal are winning, so I couldn't laugh at them. And that fact they're like 5 points above us, which puts the pressure on us to win our next two games, or Arsenal are above us in the race for top four, which, we don't like to see. But I have to say one thing about the Arsenal game. And every time an Arsenal youngster scores a bloody goal, they go, Greenwood, 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 Greenwood. I've never met a fan base more obsessed with Greenwood than Arsenal fans. They're so insecure about their own players that they have to try and use a goal to say they're better than Greenwood. At the end of the day, your players are playing well, but if you watch Greenwood, you know he's a different level. He's scoring in the Champions League. And I don't know why Greenwood lives so rent-free in so many Arsenal fans' heads. I don't understand it. It always makes me laugh. But I have to say, big up Arsenal. The youngsters are playing really, really well. Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Saka, they've all been really impressive. And actually, one thing I want to talk about, which kind of links the Arsenal game to United game, is look what Arsenal have done. They've dropped Aubameyang for a young player, and it's worked out. Martinelli has done more this season than Aubameyang has, and Aubameyang's the highest earner on the highest wages. And what Arteta doing, dropping his big earner, his big player, his captain Aubameyang, and giving a young player a chance, it's worked for Arteta. And, I think the problem of Manchester United and what the coaching staff was like, and obviously I don't want to dwell too much on Ruben, Solskjaer, Phelan, McKenna, Carrick, because they're pretty much all gone. But we would never drop Harry Maguire. Our captain was being awful on the pitch. We'd never drop him. We'd never give the youngsters a chance. It would always be the same underperforming favourite players. And it got us nowhere. Arsenal, Arteta, Arsenal are a worse squad than us. Arteta is dropping his underperforming players. He's dropping his captain. He's dropping his highest earner. And he's playing young players because he knows players that want to play for the club, and young players can do just as good a job as your captain. And I think United, should have dropped Harry Maguire for Ted and Mengi at points. We might have played better. And I think what this game and what Arsenal's really showing us is if you drop your big, expensive players and you play your youngsters, sometimes it can work, because sometimes those big, expensive players need to be dropped. And a player that is going to be dropped, and a player that Ralph Rangnick has no plans to include, is Mr. Anthony Martial. Now, Martial, guys, is set to leave Manchester United this January if he can get a move. United are looking to get £30 million for Martial, and apparently Ralph Rangnick is more than happy for Anthony Martial to go because he views Elanga higher than Anthony Martial. Would you listen to that? No, I love Anthony Martial. I'm a big Martial rater. I think he's a brilliant player. I know how good he is. I'd like him to get a chance under Rangnick to see if he can redeem himself, because an informed Martial is one of the best players in the Premier League. An informed Martial was sick. But Rangnick's like, all right, Martial wants to leave. He's on high wages. He wants to leave. Get him out. I'll give Elanga a chance. And it's a risky decision by Rangnick. But look, Arsenal dropped Aubameyang, playing Gabby Martinelli. It is working fine for Arsenal. So maybe, if you're a youngster at Manchester United, like Elanga, Shulatiri, Mejbri played really, really well for Tunisia today in the Arab Cup as well, or whatever that competition is called, cannot remember. If you're a young player at Manchester United, this is potentially a really, really exciting opportunity. By the way, guys, I've got a question for you, and I want all of your answers down below in the live chat. My question of the day is, if you could bring any player to Manchester United in January with some realisticness, do not say Messi, do not say Mbappe, do not say Neymar. If you could bring any realistic player to Manchester United in January, who would you bring? Let me know down below, and do get involved in the chat and all of that. And as Diego says, keep hitting the likes buttons. And Mr. Randomizer says, please let Rashford go. He's done F all since becoming Mr. MB. E. And this is what we're going to talk about, Mr. Marcus Rashford. Now, personally, Mr. Randomizer, I disagree with your comment. I think Rashford's had injury problems. I think he's been incredibly inconsistent, but Rashford scored goals. He scored some big goals. He has been crucial at times. He's just been inconsistent. He's just that fitness, and he doesn't seem to improve. And I say this about every single Manchester United player. You know, I think, you know, McKenna, Phelan, Carrick and Ollie were coaching Rashford and co for a couple of years. And do you think since the 1920 season, Martial, Rashford and Greenwood improved? None of our attackers improved since that 1920 season, because maybe our coaches didn't improve them. If you look at Rashford, you know, he was this really, really good player. He'd take people on, he'd shoot, yeah. And all of a sudden, Rashford does loads of good skill, then runs at a load of players in the box rather than do the simple pass. I've said this 100 times before. If you look at a player like Marcus Rashford, maybe he just needs to simplify his game. Maybe he just needs to simplify his game. And I don't think Marcus Rashford's trash. I will never call him trash. We know how good of a player Marcus Rashford can be. He's not been as good lately because of injury problems and all of that. But I will say with Marcus Rashford, you know, there is rumours of him leaving, and I will discuss that. Apparently Barcelona want him. I will discuss what's been said about Marcus Rashford leaving. But I generally believe, and I've said it before and I say it again, Marcus Rashford does not suit Ralf Rangnick's system. Okay, he doesn't, because he's not a striker and he's not a cam. He's a winger. Ralf Rangnick's 4-2-2 system, it doesn't use wingers. So yes, in a weird way, Rashford doesn't sort of suit the system that Ralf Rangnick plays. However, Ralf Rangnick is a good coach. He's going to bring in some good coaches. You know, McKenna's gone. It's a fresh start. All the Ollie coaches are out. All the new coaches are going to be coming in while we've got this little COVID break. I think this could be the start of something new for Rashford, new for Sancho, new for Erling. This is the start for players to evolve and become good players. So every single Manchester United player for me has a fresh start. McTominay, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford. I want all of them to be good and play under Ralf Rangnick, because this is the fresh start for them. And with Marcus Rashford, we know he's a really good player. With Harry Maguire, we know he's a decent centre-back. We saw it at the end of the season. We saw it in the Euros with Luke Shaw. We know he's a good left-back. With Wan-Bissaka, we saw in his first season a good right-back. But none of these players have developed under Ollie, under the coaches. And maybe that's because the quality of coaching at Manchester United is not good enough. And there's been a lack of player development. And that's what I really see. I go, you know what, everyone gets a fresh start, because I know a lot of these players have been good in the past. You know, McTominay's maybe the questionable one, because we actually haven't seen what he can do on a regular basis. But I think every single Manchester United player has had good moments. So I think, you know, I believe they're good enough to play for Manchester United. And I'm going to give them a fresh start under the new coaches. Arsenal did beat Leeds 4-1, which means they go 5 points clear of us, which means we have to win our 2 games in hand. Obviously, our 2 games in hand are at Brentford and Brighton, and they're 2 games they should win. I think Brighton have massively dropped off, but that puts pressure on Manchester United. We've got to win those 2 games in hand, because we're in a top 4 race, and, you know, taking so long to sack Ollie meant that the Arsenal side that picked up 0 points in their first 3 Premier League games has caught us up. And although we have a better team than Arsenal, and although we're getting new managers in, and although we're getting new coaches in, Arsenal do not play European football this season. Arsenal are at a significant advantage because they can rest their players. They can live off a thinner squad because they don't play European football, whereas we do. So it's really, really important that we do win these games in hand. And I think it's really, really important we get a CDM, because although we like to banter and joke about Arsenal, Arsenal could generally provide us some serious competition for that top 4 spot. I mean, Spurs have got Conte in. If Spurs win their games in hand, they go 4th. If we win our games in hand, we go 5th. Arsenal go 6th. West Ham go 7th. But it's so tight from West Ham to Manchester United, and even Chelsea could enter the top 4 race at this rate. Guys, smash a like on the video, by the way, if you have not already, and please do subscribe down below. If you miss football and you just wanted to watch Manchester United this weekend, smash a like on the video if you just could not wait until Manchester United are back on TV, because I tell you what, it feels horrendous. We haven't seen Manchester United play in over a week, and I feel like I'm losing it. I just want to watch bloody Man United play. Please put the games on. So smash a like if you agree with me. But we've got lots and lots to talk about as well. Anthony Martial, Henderson, Cavani possibly leaving in January. Does this mean United are clearing out the strikers for Erling Haaland? Lots and lots to talk about, guys. And of course, my question of the day is, if you could bring any player to Manchester United in January with some kind of realisticness, who would you bring in? Noah says Calvin Phillips. Deborah says Ruben Neves. Bleach Guy says De Jong. Johnny says John McGinn and all of that. But let me know who you bring in. And Paul says, hope Rashford doesn't leave. He's one of our own. And yeah, I hope Rashford doesn't leave either. So let's talk about the departures at Manchester United, guys, because although it's quiet on the footballing front, you know, there's no Manchester United playing for another 8 to 9 days. there is a lot going on in the world of the transfer window. The January transfer window, guys, opens in less than 2 weeks now, and this could be one of Manchester United's busiest January transfer window in years, with lots of potential ins and outs coming in and out Manchester United. So the first story that's kind of broke, and it's broke the last couple of days, it was sort of reported by the Manchester Evening News, but it came from the Express, I believe, was Marcus Rashford leaving Manchester United. There's some rumours, there's some stories, there's some speculation about Marcus Rashford leaving Manchester United. Now, the reason I'm not going to go, oh, Rashford's going to leave Manchester United, is because personally, I don't believe that Rashford was going to leave Manchester United. And the report said, and I believe it was by the Express, that Barcelona were looking at Marcus Rashford and Barcelona wanted Marcus Rashford. And why I do not believe this story is because where are Barcelona going to get the money for Marcus Rashford for? Manchester United will not let Marcus Rashford go for any less than £80 million. Would Marcus Rashford want to leave Manchester United? Probably not. Marcus Rashford is Man United born and bred. He's good for the PR. You know, that's what the Glazers think about. You've got to remember that as well. I can't see Marcus Rashford leaving. Even if he has another bad season, I can't see him leaving until maybe 2023 if he has a bad season. And the reason I don't believe the news about Rashford going to Barcelona is because it's Barcelona. Where will Barcelona find the money? Why would Rashford go to Barcelona when they're shocking right now? And why would Man United sell Rashford? You know, okay, Rashford doesn't suit Rangnick's system. That is the problem. You know, you look at the way Ralph Rangnick plays, you look at his formation. Rashford does not suit the Ralph Rangnick system. However, Rashford has the pace that Ralph Rangnick likes. There are reports that Ralph Rangnick isn't the biggest fan of Rashford and could look to ship him off, but I think that's an absolute load of BS. It's come from BS outlets, because that realistically, Anthony Martial and Jesse Lingard are definitely probably going to go in January. Dean Henderson's a very, very possible move, and Cavani's even a move. Barcelona look to be young up Cavani. He's a lot cheaper option than Rashford, and he can just be a short-term option to the end of the season. Now, how I feel about Cavani leaving Manchester United is I'm very, very sad. I don't know if Cavani's going to leave Manchester United or not. I think he's a player that Ralph Rangnick will really like. I think he's a player that will work hard under Ralph Rangnick. And I think Cavani's a player that we need, because if you're going to be playing two strikers in Ralph Rangnick's system and you're going to be letting Martial go, surely you can't let Cavani go. I know United are going to go for Haaland in the summer, and we do want a striker clear out, but Cavani's going to leave in the summer anyway, and we need to get top four to get Haaland, and Cavani could be the difference with his crucial goals. You know, our striking options, if we lose Martial and we lose Cavani, are literally Greenwood and Ronaldo to cover two striker spots, because Marcus Rashford isn't a striker. So I really hope the news about Cavani leaving Manchester United is not true. It has come from quite a few journalists, and I understand why Barcelona would be looking at Cavani, but I think realistically Lingard's going to go to Newcastle or West Ham. That's the situation with Jesse Lingard. We want to get 20 million from him. We're trying to get 30 million for Anthony Martial. Not sure where he's going to go. Cavani could leave. Dean Henderson could leave. You know, there's rumours of Marcus Rashford going to Barcelona as well, but I don't think Rashford's going to leave. I hope Cavani isn't going to leave, and I think it would most likely be Martial and what do you call him? I've forgot his name now. What's his name? Lingard out as well. But guys, Arsenal are in 5th, and they are 5 points ahead of us. Obviously, they've played 2 more games than us, but we are not in top 4. Arsenal are in the top 4. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing, guys. Smash a like if you just can't wait for Manchester United to get playing, because we need to go and win those game in hands and go back above Arsenal, because I swear to God, I go on Twitter and they're already like coming at us. I'm like, you're ahead of us, Arsenal fans, because you have 2 games in hand. Every time someone scores, they bring up Greenwood. We live so rent-free in Arsenal fans' heads. It's actually funny as well. Please do smash a like on the video, guys, if you have not already. And if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football for all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and more. Steve says that top 4 is going to be hard to get, and it's going to be a really, really difficult race for top 4 now. The pressure is really on, you know, with Arsenal being 5 points ahead. If Tottenham win all their games in hand, they'd be 3 points ahead of us. There's West Ham, there's Chelsea. There's a lot of teams that could be competing for that 4th spot. You've got to remember that Tottenham have Conte. You've got to remember that Arsenal don't have European football and all of that as well. And Lou says, Alice, I just want De Gea, Ronaldo, Bruno and Donny to stay. The rest can go wherever they want. You don't care. Well, look, I don't have that output about the squad. Yes, this squad hasn't performed well this season, but I think we've got a lot of good players in this squad that aren't playing to their full potential. And I believe a new coaching setup and Ralph Rangnick hopefully will get them playing at their potential. Noah says Arsenal are really annoying, and if you agree with Noah, smash a like on the video, because Arsenal are really, really annoying. And Mr. Randomizer says, can Rashford be a super sub for a while? I bring in De Ligt to be perfect for Varane as your dream transfer. Yes, everybody, let me know your dream realistic January transfer down below in the live chat. I will be discussing some of those. I think the problem with Marcus Rashford, okay, is I will say this 100 times. I don't think Rashford's going to leave because Barcelona could not afford him. I don't think United will let him leave, and I think Rashford is good PR, which is social media cuts PR for the board, so he's again an asset to them. Marcus Rashford, he came back from injury, scored a couple goals. He hasn't been brilliant. He's looked lost in games, but everything Marcus Rashford does wrong are simple things. And sometimes you go, oh, but the best players get the simple things right. Yes, exactly. And if Marcus Rashford gets the simple things right, then I believe he can become one of the best players. The problem with Marcus Rashford is he gets the ball in a good area, he nutmegs a player, he skills past 3 players, you're thinking, wow, then he has a simple pass on to just across the line to the 6-yard box for a tap into Greenwood. Instead, Rashford wants to take on 3 defenders in a box, runs into them, loses the ball. Rashford is a player that's a very, very good player that lacks player intelligence, and I think it's because he hasn't been coached properly. I also think he will struggle in Rangnick's system. However, Rangnick could get the most out of him. We'll have to see because he's not a striker, he's not a cam, he's a winger. Rangnick does not use wingers. But again, I think with the Marcus Rashford situation, I think people are overreacting. This is generally how I feel. I think with players like Marcus Rashford, I think people are massively overreacting. And I think, football is a reactionary sport, but I think Manchester United, as a fan base, we have one of the most reactionary fan bases out there. We're up there with Arsenal in terms of reactionary. Rashford could have 4 really good games and have 2 really bad games, and we'll be saying Trashford, Trashford, Trashford. I think let's give the squad time, let's give the new coaches time, let's give the manager time. And I know we're fed up of hearing, oh, give it time, give it time, and give it time, because essentially under Ollie it was all this give it time crap. What I mean is, I think just let Rashford have a couple of weeks with Ralph Rangnick, the new coaches. Let every Manchester United player have a fresh start. There's not going to be a change right away. We saw versus Norwich, there wasn't a change. And that is because, this team have been playing crap football for nearly 3 years, and then they've got a completely different manager with a completely different style of football that can't really train with the team because of COVID, because of the dense fixture list. It will take time for the team to adapt, but I think we'll see slow and sudden improvement at Manchester United. And this COVID break, and I'm praying to God that we play on the 27th. I'm hoping that game isn't postponed, but this COVID break could be good for Manchester United. I don't want a COVID break. I'm sure you guys don't want a COVID break. But this, players are coming back into training now already. This gives Ralph Rangnick, this gives the new coaches, this gives the players more time to train and work together and work on drills and work on gang and pressing drills. And it also gives Ralph Rangnick more knowledge of the squad so he can work with the players, pick his lineup and choose his subs, because lately it's still been very similar to Ollie, even since he's left, because Carrick, McKenna and Phelan were very influential, just as influential as Ollie. They all played a 25% part, and we saw that, even if Rangnick came in, there wasn't a big difference versus Norwich. Now McKenna's gone, and I said McKenna's gone to Ipswich. Now Carrick's gone, now Ollie's gone, and Phelan's not even wanted by Ralph Rangnick. He doesn't even help out on the training pitch, so Phelan's basically useless. This is the start of something new for Manchester United. This is like a new manager coming in, new coaches coming in. This is a fresh start for every single player in the squad. So I'm going to say to everybody in the Manchester United fan base, let's not be reactionary. Let's not overreact. Okay, Rashford's had a few bad games, but we know he's a good player. If you go back to that 1920 season, we saw Rashford, Greenwood and Martial outscore Mane, Firmino and Salah. Rashford, Greenwood, Martial outscored Mane, Firmino and Salah in the 1920 season. The problem is Greenwood hasn't got better since then, because Greenwood hasn't beat that goal tally. Martial's got worse since then, and Rashford hasn't got any better since then. And that is all 3 of our main attackers not improving in 2 years. And, all of these attackers are good young attackers with a lot of potential, but none of them have improved in 2 years. And for me, that hints that it's a coaching issue, because it's not just Rashford, it's Martial, it's Greenwood. None of them have been getting better in the last 2 years. And for me, that hints that it's a coaching issue. And I know Greenwood, Martial and Rashford are good players. I think Martial will go, unfortunately, but I believe he's a good player. But I think the fact that they haven't got better is a coaching issue. So I think we don't need to be too reactionary about Rashford and all that. And I don't believe Rashford's going to go to Barcelona, because as I said earlier, where will Barcelona get the money for? Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new to the channel. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news and updates, make sure you smash the subscribe button. But guys, ideal January signing would be De Jong. Imagine a Donny De Jong combo in the midfield. That'd be brilliant, especially because Ten Hag is favourite to get the job in summer. However, actually, one of the stories I just want to quickly throw out is apparently, according to report in Portugal, and this has just come from a report in Portugal, so it's not the most reliable report, so do take this news with a pinch of salt. Do take this story with a pinch of salt. But Ruben Amorin, current sporting manager, will be Manchester United's manager next season, and Cristiano Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes have approved of his hiring. There's a report coming out from Portugal that Manchester United have already chosen who's going to replace Ralph Rangnick in the summer, and that is the Sporting Lisbon manager. Now, this has come from Portugal. This hasn't come from the most reliable source. So, as I said, take it with a pinch of salt. He's a good manager. He plays good football with Portugal. He's someone I don't know a lot about. But if Ralf Rangnick is choosing the manager, I trust Ralf Rangnick, because any manager Ralf Rangnick's going to bring to Manchester United is realistically going to be a good attacking manager. So I'm not too fussed about that, but we will discuss that more if more reports come out. But I just think it's one of those stories that you do need to take a pinch of salt, because, you know, this is like the same article that linked us to Gaitan. Do you remember we had we were linked to Nicholas Gaitan so heavily for a year? Luckily we didn't sign him, but mad. Johnny says Newcastle will raid the EPL in January, and they will. And this is a good thing for Manchester United, because Newcastle need to buy players in January to stay up. Imagine being taken over by the Saudis and not staying up. And this means Newcastle have their eyes on players like Martial and Lingard, who are Premier League proven, who are good players that need game time. And to be fair, if I'm Newcastle United and I can get Lingard for 20 million and Martial for 30 million, I'd 100% do it, because they are Premier League proven players. Lingard did brilliant at West Ham. Martial scored 17 goals in a single Premier League season. They're very, very skillful. We're in a situation where Newcastle might be able to help us buy our deadwood. And I don't actually think Martial and Lingard are deadwood. Deadwood is more your Phil Jones. But we're in a situation where we want to sell Lingard, we want to sell Martial, so we can bring in a CDM in January. And I think this whole Newcastle takeover and then being relegated and then being desperate to bring someone in, you know, I think they will go for Lingard, because I think United would rather sell Lingard to Newcastle than West Ham, because we are in a top 4 race with West Ham. But I think in terms of selling Martial, not many clubs are going to be able to afford Martial. £30 million. But Newcastle, they have Joe Linton. They very, very want Martial. He can play on the wing. He can play as a striker. They're not scoring many goals. I think there's rumours of Martial and Lingard going, and we could get a combined £50 million for Martial and Lingard. And, you know, Fabrizio Romano said that Manchester United wants to sign a CDM in January. We know that from Fabrizio Romano, the tier 1 journalist out there. And he said, you know, Manchester United's January signings will depend on January outings. If 2 leave, we could get 2 in. If you know what I mean. And I think if Lingard goes to Newcastle and we can get money for Martial, who looks destined to leave Manchester United, because more and more reports and comments are coming out that Martial just wants gone. He just wants to play. He just wants gone. I think what's really, really interesting is this, and I believe this could be one of our busiest transfer window in years. You know, you sell 2 players for £50 million. You've got a new manager in that wants new players in, and we need a CDM anyway. You know, Hedera is the player we've been linked to. I think we could easily go and get Hedera in January. I generally believe, and this is going to sound crazy, this is going to sound like maybe I'm a bit of a lunatic, but I generally believe if we sold Martial and Lingard, we would sign Hedera, because he's clearly been linked to us a lot. He's got a £30 million release clause. He's a CDM. He's young. He's not ridiculously expensive. And Ralf Rangnick, who's got a really good track record of signings, as we've seen with Haaland, Kimmich, Mane, Firmino, just to name a few, wants Hedera. And I think United would let him do that if we actually sold some players. You know, there's also, as I talked about earlier, we've been linked to Kamara. Sakaria will be available for very, very cheap. Frank Kessie will be available for very, very cheap. You know, Manchester United in a really good position in terms of getting a CDM in January. And I hope this doesn't go to waste, because it sounds stupid, but, you know, imagine if we miss out on top 4 by 1 point and we didn't sign anyone in January. We could be sitting here in summer going, if only we signed a CDM in January, we'd have got top 4. And if we'd have got top 4, we'd have got Haaland, we'd have got Ten Hag, Ronaldo would have stayed. Because if you don't get top 4, you don't get Haaland. If you don't get top 4, Ronaldo goes. If you don't get top 4, maybe Ten Hag doesn't come to Manchester United. If you think about it, it's really, really important that we get top 4. And I think, you know, the Glazers obviously want that top 4 revenue. And I think with that pressure of the Glazers wanting the top 4 revenue, with Lingard and Martial likely to go and potentially raise 50 million, I think it's very, very likely that we do sign someone in January. I feel like I believe that we will. And if you are new to the channel and you're not already subscribed to Alice Talks Football, please do go ahead and subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news and updates. Because although there's no Manchester United until the 27th, it's less than 2 weeks till the January transfer window opens, and it's going to be a busy January transfer window for Manchester United, I believe. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to stay up to date with all the ingoings and all the outgoings and all the rumours related to Manchester United and transfer, because Cavani could go, Rashford could go, Martial could go, Lingard could go, Dean Henderson could go, Paul Pogba could go, but also we could sign Sakari, we could sign Kessie, we could sign Kamara, we could sign Lima, we could sign Hedera. There's lots of players that could come in, lots of players that could go. So anyone that's not subscribed, please do subscribe. And of course, smash a like on the video, guys. Everybody that's watching that is fed up with this COVID, go smash a like on the video. If you hate COVID, smash a like on the video as well. But back to my point. I think, as I said earlier, Sakari is a free agent in summer, Kamara is a free agent in summer, Kessie is a free agent in summer. As it stands, we can negotiate to do some work with them because we don't just need one midfielder, we need two midfielders, potentially three as a Pogba replacement because Pogba and Matic will be going. And on top of Pogba and Matic, we already needed a CDM anyway. So Manchester United could work on bringing maybe two cheap midfielders in, and then in the summer focusing on someone like De Jong to see if we get Ten Hag. And then we're in a position where we've got a very, very strong midfield, and then we can focus our efforts on someone like Haaland. And also, when you think about it, we need to get top four because it's clear United have a Haaland obsession. It's clear United want Haaland, but Haaland's not going to go to Manchester United if we're not in the Champions League. Let's be realistic. He's available for £60 million release clause. Manchester City are going to be on that. Real Madrid are going to be on that. PSG are going to be on that. Juventus are going to be on that. Liverpool might even be on that. Chelsea will definitely be on that. If Arsenal get top four, they might even be on that. Not that he'd go there, but United will be on that. And it's really, really important that we do go and get top four because I tell you what, the top four race, the pressure is on. Dortmund lost again. Let's bring Haaland. I mean, will Haaland leave in January because Dortmund are awful? Maybe, but I don't think with Dortmund bottling it a lot, I don't think they'll let Haaland leave in January because they're not playing brilliant as well. Daniel says Rashford is not worth 80 million. I don't believe Rashford is worth 80 million, but that's what he's worth to Manchester United. Grealish isn't worth 100 million, but that's what he was worth to Villa. And because Rashford's a Man United boy, I can't see Man United letting Rashford go for any less than 80 million pounds, if you want my honest opinion as well. Daniel says that Ollie is the real embarrassment. He wins nothing and talks loads of crap. Look, let's move past Ollie. He didn't win anything. He wasn't the best manager in the world, but he's got us a very, very good squad. And Ralph Rangnick's inherited a very, very good squad. And that's how I feel about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Someone said, how about Isco to Manchester United? Look, 5 years ago, I'd have taken Isco. He's a washed-up player. He's a washed-up player. Johnny talks about reports of Rooney to Manchester United. Look, there are reports of Rooney to Manchester United in a coaching role. But if Manchester United, get Rooney, as much as I love Wayne Rooney, I think he's one of the most underrated players to play in the Premier League, and I think he could have even won a Ballon d'Or. I think if we sign Rooney, it's taking a step back. If Rooney works for a Premier League club and he proves himself and he does really well, cool, bring in Rooney. But I think the fact that he's at Derby, I think the fact that he's an ex-club pro, I think it will be silly to bring in Rooney because we've done that experiment. We had Carrick in, he's gone. We had Ollie in, he's gone. We've done the ex-club legend experiment. That just didn't work. I think if we went and got Rooney in to replace Phelan, I think it would just be a massive step back. I think it would be a massive, massive step back. And hopefully that isn't the case. As much as I love Wayne Rooney, I'm a big fan of Wayne Rooney. I just think, yeah, as Paul says, let's get up to 100 likes, guys. So please keep smashing the like button if you have not already, and subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're new. And actually, as Paul says again, Leeds are going down. Everybody, let's laugh at Leeds. Oh my God, Leeds United are absolutely atrocious. They are a banter club. But you know what? I like Leeds. I like Leeds. Do you know why I like Leeds? Because they gave us 25 million for Daniel James. Leeds gave us 25 million pounds for Daniel James. I tell you what, now, I could be talking out of my arse here because obviously I don't know what really goes on at Manchester United in terms of making decisions and all that. We can only speculate. But under Ed Woodward, we were buying players for ridiculously expensive and struggling to sell them for anything at all. And we had that the last two transfer windows under Ed Woodward. We brought Fred for 50 million, Dalot for 20 million and Lee Grant. The window after that, we brought 80 million on Maguire, 50 million on Wan-Bissaka, 20 million on Dan James. Ed Woodward spent 150 million on Dan James, Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka. He also brought in Fred for 50 million, which is overpriced. And then the transfer window after that, Ed Woodward failed to get Jadon Sancho. He brought in Cavani as a last-minute transfer that worked, and brought in Donny that Ollie didn't want. Okay, all of a sudden, John Murtough gets the sporting director's role at Manchester United, and I don't know if this is just a coincidence that the year that John Murtough is starting to make decisions that we look better, or maybe John Murtough's having an impact. But John Murtough gets this role at Manchester United. We get £25 million for Daniel James, which is very, very good business because he is a championship player. But we also signed Ronaldo, we signed Sancho, we signed Varane in one transfer window. So we've had our best ever transfer window under John Murtough. We've brought in someone like Ralph Rangnick and actually given him a consultancy role, which apparently is John Murtough's choice. And I don't want to get ahead of myself because, the cycle of Manchester United is play bad, pain, play well, believe again, pain, sack manager. There's always this cycle at Manchester United. But I feel like Manchester United, and I felt like this for a while, that might be taking the first few steps to become a proper club. You know, there's a reason why Liverpool and Chelsea and City are far ahead of us, despite our squad probably being on a similar level to theirs, because they're run like a proper club. And I generally believe United are taking the first few steps of being run like a proper club. We gave John Murtough the sporting director role. Yes, he was already in the club and all of that, but at least he's been doing football business of it, not Ed Woodward. And you've noticed we've had our best transfer window in years. We got 25 million for Dan James. I don't think that's a coincidence. Ed Woodward is going. Not only have we got Ralph Rangnick in, an experienced attacking manager, but we're going to give him a job higher up once he's done. Richard Arnold has said that he doesn't want to do the football responsibilities as his job. He doesn't want to learn the job, and he wants to give that to someone that knows football. And that could likely go to Ralph Rangnick. And this could be the first time in years that Manchester United actually brings someone in that knows football to work on the ball. We've obviously got Ralph Rangnick in, but we could actually be bringing in someone with football knowledge and all of that to actually be working on the football decision side of things. And why we've been so far behind City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and all our rivals in these years is because we've never had football people on the board. We've had business people, and that's why we've probably made some of the worst transfer business of all time. We've had some of the worst, managerial swaps of all time. We've completely downfell from the Fergie era. Fergie was a brilliant manager. You can't replace Fergie; he is irreplaceable. But we should have won a league in the last 9 years, and I think it's because we're not run properly. And I do believe with Murtough, with Rangnick, with Woodward going, with Arnold want to giving the football responsibilities of his job to one side, I think that maybe this is the first steps for Manchester United being run like a proper club. Maybe Martial and Lingard going is showing that being run by a proper club, because you're going, you know what, we can get 50 million for Martial and Lingard in January and we'll go bring in Hedera. And guys, how would you feel about that? Because I love Martial, and I want to see Martial play well and prove himself under Rangnick, because I think Martial will go to another club, shine, and we'll be going, oh my God, I can't believe you sold him for 30 million. That's how I feel about Anthony Martial. However, how would you feel if we sold Anthony Martial, we sold Jesse Lingard, and we brought in a CDM? Do you think that would be good business? Do let me know down below as well, guys. Please do smash a like on the video if you have not already. Let's go for 250 likes on today's video. And if you're not subscribed to Alice Talks Football, it'll be really, really appreciated if you do go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and updates, please do subscribe to the channel. Daily Manchester United content on the channel. It's a cheeky Man United fan channel. And look, there's no Man United games for another 8 days. There's no Manchester United for another 8 days, but there is a transfer window coming up, and it's going to be a very, very busy transfer window for Manchester United from what I'm hearing, with ins and outs. And if you do want to know all the latest gossip, rumours and news about potential ins and outs to Manchester United in December and January, make sure you subscribe, because I think there's lots and lots to come in this transfer window ahead. I think it's going to be one of our busiest transfer windows in years as well. Let me know down below if you can bring anyone in January. Who would you bring in down below? Because that is today's talking point. Who would you bring in January, realistically? Dave says he would have sold Rashford 4 years ago. Dave, I think we would have regretted that. I think Rashford's going to be a good player, and I think he's going to prove all his doubts wrong. And I do believe, although he's not been brilliant late, I do believe that Ralph Rangnick is going to get the best out of Marcus Rashford. And I think all the Rashford doubters this time next year will be going, thank God we didn't sell him, because I believe Marcus Rashford's a top player. Not only is he a top person, I believe in Marcus Rashford. I think he's a great player. And I've always believed in Marcus Rashford. Vishesh says that Ralph Rangnick will be sporting director when he's finished with Manchester United manager. He's not the type of manager to bring him. He would prefer Ten Hag. Look, what's going to happen when Ralph Rangnick leaves his interim role? I think a lot of people go, what happens when Ralph Rangnick leaves his interim role? What's his consultancy role? What's he going to do? And what is being reported that Ralph Rangnick will do is actually Ralph Rangnick will choose Manchester United's next manager. That's the story that's being reported. It could be the Sporting Lisbon manager that apparently is set to come to Manchester United. That is the story coming out. It could be Erik Ten Hag. I believe that Rangnick will want to go for Erik Ten Hag. I believe that Rangnick will want to go for a CDM. I believe Rangnick will want to go for Haaland. And I believe Rangnick will want to get someone that the new manager wants to get in, maybe Frankie de Jong if it's Ten Hag. But I think, as I said earlier, there's a lot of manager speculation. Apparently, our next manager is going to be the Sporting Lisbon manager. That's a story coming out of Portugal, because Ronaldo and Bruno have agreed to it, apparently. Well, look, if we don't get Champions League, Ronaldo might not be here next year. So I think the story saying that Ronaldo's chosen our next manager and that Man United already chosen the next manager is probably a load of BS, if you want me to be honest with you guys. I won't lie, but you never know. I think all the stories talking about Manchester United's next manager, guys, I think just ignore them till maybe February, March. I just think, we won't get a new manager until May at the earliest. And I think the earliest we can really look at new managers is maybe February. I kind of let the news sort of go in one ear and out the other about new managers. But I think Ten Hag would still be what I believe would happen if I had to take a guess. But look, you can't guess this early on. I've got a question for you guys actually. Which youngster do you like the most at Manchester United? Because as we know about Ralf Rangnick, it's been revealed that Ralf Rangnick has plans to play the youngsters and implement the youngsters a lot more in Manchester United games, with him already viewing Anthony Elanga fairly high. And actually, one of the reasons Martial wants to go is because Rangnick maybe prefers Elanga to Anthony Martial, and Elanga could be stepping in and playing over the likes of Anthony Martial, guys. So how do you feel about that, and what youngsters do you want to see under Ralf Rangnick? This is a question for everyone in the live chat to get involved. Which youngsters do you want to come in? Obviously, a lot of people are saying Hannibal, obviously Greenwood. I think Greenwood's already involved in the squad. We know Greenwood's going to get game time. But when I'm talking about youngsters, I'm talking about young players that don't really get any minutes at the Manchester United that Ralf Rangnick could potentially give minutes to. Because I think there was this false PR that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gave the young players a chance. There was this story how Ole's United DNA and plays the United way and plays young players and all of that. But actually, when you look back at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's reign, the only young player he brought through was Mason Greenwood. He never played the United way. I mean, he did sometimes, but then he played this coward way. Jose Mourinho brought through more academy players than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There was this false reports that Ole was bringing through academy players and playing the United way, and it was always a load of BS. But Ralf Rangnick is believed to be a big admirer of the academy way. He's the type of manager to drop Martial, to drop Cavani for Elanga if they're not performing, which is what I like about Ralf Rangnick. As we said earlier with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think one of my biggest criticisms of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is, he played the same underperforming players. And this started from his first season. Pereira and Lingard were absolutely shocking in that 19-20 season. He had a young, fresh Angel Gomez sitting on the bench, and we never played Angel Gomez. And that was the first frustration between many fans. And then obviously you got the same underperforming players, Scott and Fred, and Donny's not even a youngster, wouldn't play Donny. You've got a lot of good youngsters at Manchester United, and they never really got a chance with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But now, with Ralf Rangnick coming in and his keenness to play youngsters, we could see Shola Shoretiri get some minutes. We could see Amad Diallo play more, although Amad Diallo is set to go out on loan in January. We could see Anthony Elanga play more. Anthony Elanga is a name that's been mentioned a lot, but we could also see players like Hannibal Mejbri finally be implemented into the Manchester United squad. If Pogba's going to go in summer and doesn't sign a new deal, then why would Ralf Rangnick play him when he could actually think about the future in Hannibal Mejbri that's already playing first-team football for Tunisia as well? So, yeah. But everybody, let me know in the live chat which young players you're most excited to see. Most people saying Hannibal. Charlie Savage could be an interesting one as well. Elanga, Pellistri. Pellistri's out on loan. I know he hasn't been brilliant out on loan, but Pellistri was a player that was very, very impressive in pre-season. And actually, this is a funny thing, but when you think about it, Manchester United have got a lot of players that have been very, very impressive in pre-season and on loan spells. Chong was good in pre-season. He had to come back from his Birmingham City loan early because of injury. Chong's been good. I don't think he's going to be good enough to cut at United. Pellistри's been very, very good. Amad Diallo's a good winger. Shola Shoretiri's a good winger. Elanga, obviously highly rated. Charlie McNeil, Joe Hugill breaking records in the youth academy. United have got so many exciting young attacking players that I actually cannot wait to see them be given opportunities. And I've always said this, guys, the fact that Ralf Rangnick had half a training session with Manchester United and brought on Elanga after half a training session in an important Premier League game when we needed a goal. We were 0-0 with Crystal Palace. He took Rashford off. He brought Elanga on. He'd only spent a couple hours watching Elanga, and he took that risk. The fact that Ralf Rangnick took that risk, which is a risk that Ole wouldn't have made, a risk that Carrot wouldn't have made, the risk that no one at Manchester United would have made before, says to me that Ralf Rangnick will give young players a chance if they impress in training. And this is why I think, this is a good opportunity for all of those youngsters coming up. But I think if I was going to say which youngster I'm most excited to see, I'd probably agree with Noah and say Amad Diallo potentially and Hannibal Mejbri. I think Dylan Levitt and Galbraith could be interesting to see. They've obviously gone out on loan. Well, I know Dylan Levitt has. But we're not counting Mason Greenwood as a youth player because he's always very, very established at Manchester United. He's a regular player. I know he hasn't played a lot lately, but he's a regular player. And look, guess what, guys? Martinelli scores, Saka scores, and Greenwood's trending on Twitter. I tell you what now, I think Arsenal fans are absolutely obsessed with Greenwood. I've never met a fan base that are more obsessed with Mason Greenwood than Arsenal fans. They're absolutely obsessed with him. That every time something happens from Saka, Martinelli or Smith Rowe, it's Greenwood come outside, Greenwood come outside. It makes me laugh because Greenwood's the benchmark now. Greenwood is the benchmark to compare all the other Premier League youngsters to it. And you know what? I absolutely love it. Greenwood is quality above, and we'll see at the end of the season why Greenwood's quality above when he gets playing those games in hand. Keith would like to see Ted Mengi, and I tell you what, Ted Mengi's played what 30 minutes this season, and he's already done more than Harry Maguire. In 30 minutes, Ted Mengi's already done bloody more than Harry Maguire this season. I will tell you that. Now look, we have good centre-backs. Varane's coming back. Lindelof's been playing well. Bailly's been playing well. Maguire is a good centre-back that hasn't been playing well. Tuanzebe could come back. I don't know where Ted Mengi's going to get minutes from. But you know what? If Ralph Rangnick will drop Martial for Elanga, maybe Ralph Rangnick will drop Harry Maguire for Ted Mengi. You know, he gave Ted Mengi some minutes in that Young Boys game as well. And Ted Mengi's a very, very good young centre-back. So we'll have to wait and see as well with that, to be fair. Let's get up to 150 likes, guys. So please keep smashing that like button. Everybody that does not like COVID-19, smash that like button. Because if you do like COVID-19, actually tell me why you're not hitting that like button down below. Because why would you like COVID-19? So everybody watching should be hitting that like button. Because if you don't like COVID, you smash that like button. Jeff's gutted Angel Gomez left. You know what? I was sad Angel Gomez left, but he needed to go for his career because Ollie was never going to play him. And maybe Rangnick would have given him a chance now, but, you know, he doesn't want to sit around and wait for years and years and years. He wants to get his career started, and I respect that Angel Gomez left. But I think it was so sad when we let go of Angel Gomez. But Ollie never played him. You know, he played Pereira over him, like Andreas Pereira, who was consistently underperforming. It was really frustrating. And look, I think Arteta's a prime example of just drop the underperforming players and play the young players. Aubameyang dropped for Martinelli. Arsenal have been brilliant. You know, Pepe dropped for Saka. Smith Rowe, Saka and Martinelli, you know, their play over the expensive Pepe, Arsenal's record transfer, and Arsenal's captain. Arsenal dropped their captain and highest earner. They dropped their most expensive transfer for the young players, and it's worked for Arsenal. And this is why I go, if Harry Maguire doesn't perform, drop him for Tuanzebe, because it works for Arsenal. If one of our attackers doesn't perform, drop him for the youth players, because it doesn't matter about how much a player costs. It doesn't matter about how experienced a player is. If they're underperforming, give someone else a chance. And Arsenal's best front three now is Martinelli, Smith Rowe and Saka. Whereas before, they'd be saying it's Willian, Pepe and Aubameyang. And look how much better they are now with their young players. You know, the highest earning players, the more expensive players, you know, they weren't good enough. And it's worked for them. And that, you know, Garner's an exciting one. Garner actually played today for Nottingham Forest on loan. Obviously, Manchester United didn't play today, guys, but a lot of Manchester United players actually did play today. So Mejbri played in the Arrow Cup for Tunisia. He played 88 minutes today, first team football. Jimmy Garner started for Nottingham Forest today on loan. Although Manchester United didn't play today, a lot of our youngsters actually did play today, which is brilliant. Showcat Khan has an interesting comment here, saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer promised everything and delivered nothing. I disagree with that comment. I think, you know, we got excited with that brilliant turnaround versus PSG when Ole got the contract. We played good football under Ole. We went on this winning run. It felt like it was going good. And then all of a sudden, Ole went to his Milkfred obsession and playing crap football. Because when we were playing with a midfield three of Matic, Herrera, Pogba, and Matic, Bruno, Pogba, we were playing really good attacking football. And then all of a sudden, this Milkfred obsession kind of took over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And we just weren't playing good football. And, you know, I'm not saying it's Milkfred's fault or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, we played attacking football, and then we couldn't do it with Matic anymore, so then we played negative football. And I think Ollie promised us all attacking good football results and went back to negative football. So maybe there was some kind of false promises on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's part, you could potentially say. But I kind of disagree with that comment. Only 74 likes needed for 200 likes, guys. So if you're anti-COVID, smash a like on the video. If you do not want to go into another lockdown, if you just want to watch Manchester United play, smash a like on the video, because I've really missed not watching Manchester United play today. I've really, really missed it. Joey says you have so much deadwood in the first team, get rid of them and have a first team senior squad of only 20 guys like Ajax. Look, I agree, Manchester United have absolutely got a lot of deadwood in that first team. I mean, if we go and look at Manchester United's first team now, you know, we've got players that we need to sell on higher wages because we're not even playing them. And we've got a lot of good young players that can come through. So I think that we do need a clear out in January. And that's why it looks like there will be a clear out in January. What I'm actually going to do, guys, is I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And I'm going to show you the Manchester United squad. And we'll go through potentially who needs to go and who doesn't need to go and all that. But this is the Manchester United squad. Obviously, we've got De Gea, Henderson, Heaton and Grant. I don't know why we kept Lee Grant on a contract when we signed Heaton, but maybe we're meant to sell Henderson. Dean Henderson's set to go on an 18-month loan, by the way, guys, in January. That's new. So it will be De Gea, Tom Heaton, Lee Grant. Cool. It's just a young player. Lindelof, Bailly, keep. Phil Jones needs to go. I think everything's good here. Mengi could maybe do with a loan. A lot of youngsters. This is where we don't have depth in the CDM spot. But, Matic just passed it. Pogba wants to go. Look, we can bring through Mejbri. I'm so excited to see Mejbri come through, playing well for Tunisia. But yeah, Jesse Lingard needs to go. Mata needs to go. These are good young players that could come through. Cavani could go, but I don't want him to go. I'd rather wait till the summer. I think he could be important in the top 4 race. Martial, if he wants to go, let him go. I don't want him to go, but yeah. Amad Diallo needs a loan. Shola Shatiri needs a loan. But yeah, if you look at the squad, we have a very, very dense squad, and I think there's a lot of players in this Manchester United squad that you could go. Henderson, do we need? No. As I said earlier, Phil Jones, we don't need. Mengi could do with a loan. We need someone in the midfield area, but, and if you get maybe someone out of the midfield area like Jesse Lingard, that opens up an opportunity for Hannibal Mejbri. And, Jesse Lingard, as much as I think he has been mistreated by Manchester United, and I feel a little bit sorry for Jesse Lingard because he was promised game time and he didn't get it, and I think he has deserved game time because we haven't played well, and I think Jesse Lingard's been all right when he's come on. If we sell Jesse Lingard, that is a chance for someone like Mejbri. That's also, if you sell Jesse Lingard, that's £20 million to go and get a CDM in January. And if we get £50 million for less Jesse Lingard and Martial combined, we can buy our January CDM target. And then that gives someone like Mejbri maybe an opportunity to play in the cam role for Manchester United. So there's always the positives of selling the deadwood, because when you sell the deadwood, you get money, so you can bring in the players you need. And as much as I like Lingard, as much as I like Martial, as much as I think they're good players, and I'd like them to playing more for Manchester United, because I believe that they can be good players. Again, we know how good Lingard can be. We know how good Martial can be. If selling Lingard means that we can free up some more game time for someone like Mejbri, who's the future, and actually get the funds to bring in the CDM in January, then I'm absolutely all for it, guys. I don't know what your thoughts are on that as well. Greenwood is better than Rashford or Martial and is 7 years younger. I think Rashford, when he's in form, is better than Greenwood, and I think Martial, when he's in form, is better than Greenwood. But I think Greenwood's been better these last couple of months. However, saying that, I think Greenwood will be the best. I think, we saw Rashford come through, he looked brilliant. We saw Martial come through, he looked brilliant. But when we saw Greenwood come through, he was just a different gravy to everyone else. And I think Greenwood will be the best of the three. I think Greenwood will be absolutely world class. And Greenwood's obviously trending because, Saka and Martinelli scored and he just went free in Arsenal fans' heads. But guys, I believe Mason Greenwood will become an absolutely world class player. Like, he's my favourite Manchester United player, Mason Greenwood is. Mason Greenwood is absolutely my favourite Manchester United player because he is so good. I think a lot of people do not realise how good Mason Greenwood is. He doesn't play loads and loads and loads, but he can make a goal out of nothing. And not many players can make a goal out of nothing like Mason Greenwood can. He actually, he scored like 13 Premier League goals in 2021 in limited minutes. We've got to think of how negative and boring Manchester United players are playing. Manchester United have been playing some crap football under some crap tactics for a good year and a half, with the striker's role being a graveyard shift. If you're a striker for Manchester United, it is a graveyard shift. And, many strikers have struggled for Manchester United. And, Ronaldo has games where he's useless because he gets no service. And, Ronaldo is the best striker in the world. He can make something happen out of nothing. But Greenwood's played in that graveyard shift and scored goals and made something happen because he's a brilliant striker. What I believe of Greenwood now is, this is why I think Greenwood has one of the biggest futures in football, and this is why I think he's going to become one of the best players of all time. Mason Greenwood is learning from Ronaldo, one of the best strikers, if not the best striker of all time in football. He's also going to be working with new coaches, and working with new coaches means he'll improve, because I don't think he's improved since his first season where he broke through. But also, the new coaches that are going to be working with Greenwood are going to play attacking football. So not only is Greenwood going to get more chances because Manchester United are going to play football that's more on the front foot as of now, but also Greenwood's going to be learning from Ronaldo, and also, with Martial going out and all of that, Greenwood's going to potentially be getting more minutes. Greenwood's a player that we know is good, we know can deliver, we know can score in limited game time, but imagine him getting more service from the attackers. Boom, improvement in Greenwood. Imagine him playing with some better coaches and the new coaches coming in and improving him. Boom, because I think Greenwood's come a little bit predictable. And also, he's going to learn from Ronaldo. And I think, Greenwood's already a brilliant player, but he has every little thing around him that can make him become a top player. And that's why I solely believe that And Greenwood can come one of the greatest players of all time. And look, I might sound a bit cocky, I might sound deluded, but I am absolutely a big admirer of Mason Greenwood. Diego says, please set notifications on and subscribe to Alice Talks Football. Yes, guys, if you're watching this video right now and you're not subscribed to Alice Talks Football, please do subscribe down below. We've obviously got 8 days till Manchester United's next game. However, I will be doing a lot of content in the next week because, you know what, Manchester United are going to have a very busy January transfer window, guys. We're going to have a very busy January transfer window. There's going to be lots of ins and outs, I believe. This could be one of Manchester United's busiest January transfer window in years. So even though there's no football on, you know, we're 2 weeks away from the January transfer window opening. Looks like Lingard's going to go. Looks like Martial's going to go. You know, Cavani could go. Rashford could go. Amor could go out on loan. Dean Henderson could go. Lots of players look to be leaving Manchester United, and lots of players could potentially join Manchester United. There's a lot of CDMs out there that are actually out of contract in summer, like Sakaria, Kamara, and Kessie, that will be available for very cheap in January. And Manchester United, you know, if they sell players, they will buy players, and it looks like we're going to sell players, so it looks like we're going to buy players. I think it's going to be one of our busiest January transfer windows in long. There's a lot of rumours, there's lots of reports already. So do make sure you subscribe, because although there won't be much football content for 8 days in terms of actually reporting on matches, because we don't play for 8 days because of stupid COVID, there's going to be so much news in terms of the January transfer window, because this could be one of our busiest January transfer windows in years. So do make sure you're subscribed if you do want to stay up to date on the January transfer news. Bish, bash, bosh, smash a subscribe. And also, if you hate COVID, smash a like on the video. If you do not want to go into a Premier League lockdown, smash a like on the video, because guys, I will be live on Monday night, because on Monday there's going to be a big meeting with Premier League clubs. It's going to be a big meeting. All the Premier League clubs are going to hold a meeting to discuss the future of the Premier League, discuss whether calling it off for COVID. So on Monday, we're going to find out whether the league's going to be called off for COVID, whether there could be a 2-3 week break. Is the Boxing Day match going to be played? We're going to find that out on Monday. So I will be definitely live again on Monday, and there might be a video or live tomorrow if anything comes out discussing that. So do smash a like, do smash a subscribe, do smash a share. But yeah, big up everybody getting involved as well. And yeah, Rashford, Greenwood, and Sancho have the potential to be the best strike force in the world, with Kamara and Kessie in the midfield, says Showkat Khan. Exactly. Manchester United, Rashford, Martial, and Sancho are 3 of the best young and up-and-coming English forwards. There's a big potential and future ahead for those players, and we're very lucky with the talent we have. We just got to not waste it. And if Rashford, Greenwood, and Sancho reach their potentials, absolutely balling. And I believe under Ralph Rangnick and him playing attacking football and us going to play better football under Ralph Rangnick, that we will see these players improve, and we will see a really good Manchester United strike force. Courtney says, I do believe Greenwood can become one of the best in the future. And look, as I said earlier, guys, I massively believe that Greenwood is going to become one of the best players in the future. If we look at Mason Greenwood's stats here, and we go to Transfermarkt, although Greenwood's stats this season aren't absolutely incredible, you've got to remember that he's been playing in an underperforming Manchester United squad, and he hasn't actually started that many games. And why is my laptop being bloody slow? Of course my laptop's being slow. But as we see on my screen, I'm getting Mason Greenwood's stats up. So this season he's got 7 goal contributions and 1,100 minutes. But he's, you know, if you actually look at the amount of games he started and all of that, subbed off 8, 7. He started 12 games and he's got 7 goal contributions. So that's nearly a goal contribution every other game from Mason Greenwood as well. Last season, everyone said that Mason Greenwood was absolutely rubbish. And then you look at Mason Greenwood's stats last season, 12 goals, 6 assists. That's still 18 goal contributions. And obviously the 19-20 season was an absolutely brilliant season for Mason Greenwood. And, you know, 19 goals, 4 assists. And if you go to overall balance, although some of this is going to show some of the youth academy stats, you know, Mason Greenwood, just, you know, as a centre forward, you know, obviously some of this is under 23 stats, but 67 games, 45 goals, 14 assists. He's an absolute baller. I generally believe Mason Greenwood can become one of the best players in Premier League history, and he's going to learn from Ronaldo. We're going to play better football and all of that. Greenwood's young, showing potential. Give the youth a break, let him grow. Greenwood is showing potential, but he hasn't quite hit that next level yet, and I think that's because his growth maybe has stagnated under the coaches. And Andrew says Greenwood has more talent and potential than Rashford. Rafi's pace covers some of his deficiencies in his game and helped him burst onto the scene. I agree. I think Marcus Rashford is an absolutely brilliant player, but I think when you look at Greenwood, he's a more all-round complete player than Marcus Rashford. And I believe that Greenwood will be better than Rashford because, yeah, Rashford does have that pace to bail him out. And that's a very, very good point. Daniel's asked, do you think Ralph Rangnick will continue the 4-2-2 and start Donny Alice? That's a really good question there from Daniel. And look, who knows really what Rangnick's going to do? But what Rangnick has now, because of this COVID break, is an opportunity to sit down, get to analyse the squad, get to work with the squad, get to bring in his coaches, and actually have a little bit longer to implement what he wants to do with the squad. And the fact that, within his first 2 games, he has played that 4-2-2 system indicates to me that is the system that he wants to play. So I believe he will stick with a 4-2-2. And I do highly believe that Ralph Rangnick will be playing Donny, because Donny can play in the cam role in that system, and Donny can also play in the pivot role. And with Matic not being rated and past it, and, with Pogba being very inconsistent with injuries and Ralph Rangnick not wanting to play Pogba if he's not going to stay, that gives Donny opportunity in that pivot role, because we can't play McTominay and Fred week in, week out physically because they need to rest, and Bruno needs to rest sometimes, so Donny can play in the cam role. What's really, really interesting, and what's a really, really interesting news story and article that's come out, which I think you guys will find interesting, is that basically Donny wants to go in January if he's not going to play. He's still concerned because of how he's been treated in the past. But Ralph Rangnick's made it clear, according to reports, just to throw that out there, Ralph Rangnick has made it clear he wants Donny van de Beek to stay. He's made it clear that Donny van de Beek's included in his plans. And I think also, if you look at that Young Boys game, he played Donny van de Beek as a CDM. But not only did he play Donny van de Beek as a CDM, he played Donny van de Beek as a CDM on his own with Mata and Lingard ahead. The fact that Donny van de Beek played as a CDM on his own with Mata and Lingard ahead says to me he knows Donny can play in that deeper role. Because I think it took Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 2 years a year and a half to realise, Donny can play in that deeper role, because he kept using as a Bruno alternative. But I think the fact that Rangnick was willing to play Donny as a lone CDM so deep on his own said to me that Rangnick knows that Donny van de Beek can play in a deep role. That's what I believe about that, and I believe the fact that he's asked Donny to stay and tell Donny he's going to be involved according to reports. I think that Donny van de Beek will be involved under Ralph Rangnick, will play, and I do believe it'll be a 4-2-2 to answer that question. Joey White says, learn from Liverpool's 99% of their squad is fully vaccinated, sign of a big club. Look, I'm going to say this, guys, and that everyone has a... voice is gone. Let me just take a quick drink of water. I am going to say this, guys, and look, everyone has their own opinion. I just think Manchester United should advise players to get vaccinated. I think Klopp has the right approach about it, because I think there's a lot of misconception about the vaccine. People are like, I've had the vaccine and still got COVID. What the vaccine allows you to do is, yes, the vaccine doesn't stop you getting COVID, but the vaccine means if you get COVID, the symptoms are less severe. So especially that really helps those at high risk. But what the vaccine does is, if you have the vaccine, you don't actually have to isolate for 10 days. So if you've been in contact with someone who's got COVID and you don't have the vaccine, you've got to isolate for 10 days. So that's why Liverpool haven't lost many players, because everyone's vaccinated at Liverpool, so they don't need to really isolate and all of that, so they don't lose players. If there's players at Manchester United that aren't vaccinated, that they've got to isolate if they've been in contact, so then they're essentially out in a self-isolation period and that. And I just think it's easier if everyone gets vaccinated, and I don't want to go political. Everyone has their own views on this. I just think it's easier, because then players are going to be more available. The Premier League can carry on, bish, bash, bosh. And at the end of the day, if you want my honest opinion, I hate COVID. I'm fed up of COVID. It's always going to be around. I just think, fuck it, get on with it. Just get on with the football. Because we've had enough lockdowns already. That's just how I feel about the situation. I think on Monday we'll actually know what's going to go on. Monday's live stream could be me going here, oh my God, there's no Man United for a month. Or Monday's live stream could be, the Premier League want to get up and go on with it, and Manchester United will go and play Newcastle. As it stands now, our next game is against Newcastle on the 27th, which is 9 days away, just under 9 days away if you actually consider time zone. But that game could be called off, and I think we'll have an idea on Monday if that's called off. But look, we've had 12 days isolation between Brighton and Newcastle, so I'm not that worried, because I think all the players would have isolated and they shouldn't have COVID, so we should be able to play. But will the Premier League go on a break? Will the Premier League be called off? Hopefully that's not the case. Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new to the channel. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more, make sure you subscribe to Alice Talks Football, because I will be live throughout the week, keeping you updated on all the latest Manchester United news, updates and more. I know it's a little bit dry right now, no games for another 8-9 days, but look, it could be one of our busiest January transfer windows in years, and I'm going to be live pretty much every day in January, giving you all the transfer latest. And obviously, we're less than 2 weeks away from the transfer window opening. So again, I'm obviously going to be live throughout the week, giving you little bits of updates. But yes, everybody, smash a like on the video, subscribe down below if you have not already. I'm going to end the live stream in a couple of minutes, so just get your last minute chats in there, get your last minute live chats, and I'll try and read some live chats out. Does Ronaldo fit Rangnick's system? We'll have to wait and see, but he's Cristiano Ronaldo. If he can play in Ollie's system, he can play in any system, and all of that. And Rang was a CDM himself, so he knows to guide Van der Beek. That's a very good point as well. And do you think Rangnick should get rid of Ronaldo this January transfer window? No, not at all. I mean, Ronaldo's our only hope of winning the Champions League, which could be our hope of getting the top four, because Arsenal, Spurs, West Ham, all competition. Van der Beek will be a very good player under Ralph, says Ahad. John says no games for United for a while, so buying and selling players is the main way to compete with other clubs. Yeah, exactly. But look, I think get the Deadwood out, get a CDM in, and I think that will really, really help us compete with the other clubs, because I think we are falling behind. Courtney says she wants Ten Hag to come in and Donny Van der Beek to get back to his best. I think, we'd all like that, and Ten Hag's a brilliant manager as well, not just for Donny reasons, and all of that. How effective the vaccine is could be debated. Good point there by Andrew. But we know the PR rules around it. The squads with most vaccinated rates have an advantage. Exactly. Look, we don't know everything about the vaccine. There's a lot of misinformation out there as well. There's so much bullshit online about COVID and COVID rates and all of that we can't really trust what we read, because we don't know what's true or not. We don't know what the government's lied about. So we don't know everything about the vaccine can be debated. But I just think, the squads that have more vaccinated players are at an advantage, which is what I was trying to say. You probably explain that a little better than me. Bailly will be great under Rangnick, says David. Bailly's a baller. I absolutely love Eric Bailly. And I think he could be an absolute baller under Ralph Rangnick. You know what? I do somewhat agree with that comment. And do you think United really stand a chance of winning the UCL? Look, we've got Ronaldo, we've got Varane. They are UCL winners. I think we've got a good enough team to win the UCL. I think if we get a CDM, we can. I think it's very, very hard to win the UCL. You've got PSG, you've got Bayern, you've got City, you've got Liverpool. They are all a level ahead of us. However, the UCL is a knockout tournament. Chelsea didn't have their best Premier League season. They won the UCL. It is a knockout tournament. It's how you do on the day. It's not over a season. And I think, on our day, we can be really, really good. So I think there's potential for us to win the UCL. I think, right now, probably not. We are far off Liverpool. We are far off Man City, watching them play their last few games. But look, Chelsea sacked a club legend mid-season, brought in a German coach, and drew Atletico Madrid in the round of 16. So if we do beat Atletico Madrid, why not? We sign Varane, we sign Ronaldo, Champions League winners. I think if we do win the Champions League, we might as well just give it to Ronaldo, because he's the reason we got out the group stage, because we're atrocious. But new manager, new players, decent squad. Yeah, I think it's possible. I want to believe we can. I think, we are far off Liverpool and City and all that. But I think by the time the knockout stage comes ahead, that we will be a better team, because Ralph Rangnick would have spent a lot more time with the squad. So I do think by the time the knockout stages come, we'll be a better team, because Rangnick would have got to know the squad much better, and we'll probably be playing better football. Only 33 likes in here for 200 likes, guys. Come on, let's just go for 200 likes. It absolutely costs nothing to hit that like button, guys. So can you just keep hitting that like button? And can we go for 200 likes? It'd be much appreciated as well. Solskjaer's gone, coach is gone, and now Woodward needs to go. Facts. 100% agree. And look at Bundesliga, Serie A, and other leagues. No postponements. Why is that? Because they're just better run countries, really. Boris is a bit shit. And Andrew says, makes me sick to say, but Liverpool scary for the Champions League. City have more depth and consistency in the Premier League, but Paul could be scary over 2 legs in each round of Champions League. Look, I said my Champions League predictions were Barcelona to be flop and Bayern Munich, Liverpool to make it to the final. I said it'll be a final between Bayern and Liverpool, and Barca will flop. And I said that in August. I got a lot of stick over it, because they said people would say PSG will win. People told me Barca weren't going to flop. But Liverpool I think Jurgen Klopp's the best manager in the world. I'm a United fan. I generally believe Jurgen Klopp is the best manager in the world right now. I'm a big admirer of him. Liverpool could go far. Greenwood should get more game time. I agree. Obviously, he can't play for a while because stupid COVID, but yes. And yeah, but everybody, I'm going to end today's live stream. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Smash a like on the video. We're so close to 200 likes. If you've not hit that like button, what are you doing? Smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news and updates, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you smash a like. Thanks everyone for tuning in today's live stream. There will be an upload tomorrow unless there's any interesting news. If there's big news, I'll be live tomorrow. If not, there'll be an upload. But I will be live Monday with big news, because on Monday we're going to know what's going to happen with the Premier League. Are we going to be postponed? Are we going to go into another lockdown? We will find that out Monday. So do subscribe with post notifications on if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news. Is the Premier League going to be cancelled, postponed? But also busy January transfer window ahead. So, you know, lots and lots to talk about as well. But big up everyone in chat. Thank you for watching. Smash a like, smash a subscribe, smash a share. See you next time.